I told her I was stalking her earlier, so that's always a good way to start off a show, is telling somebody
That's
that
a
you
great way to
stalked
start
them.
off the conversation
Yes.
with someone. Is like, hey,
Yes.
so I was stalking you last night.
I've been stalking. Yeah. So we'll have to trim this off the YouTube thing. But anyway, Brian, our friend Brian is here today. Brian, thank you so much for joining. Good evening, all you. Good evening to you, Brian. So thank you for stopping by Barcelona, I believe. And we've got my pal, Ian Anderson Gray. Always makes fun of us being from Texas Grace by going, howdy, howdy, howdy. So
I don't know. I think he's just trying to speak our language.
he doesn't.
Jeff.
Yeah, he does not speak that way in real life from the UK. Yes. So
Oh my gosh.
we have got a great show for you today. By the way, I want to let you guys know about this. We've been doing this for the past couple of weeks. We started this new program called Volley, where you can actually ask questions before the show and it's really fun with the community. You can find that at socialmedianewslive.com/chat. Go to socialmedianewslive.com/chat. It's amazing. Grace even showed up this week. Even did some stuff before the show. So it's fun to talk to everybody. Gary's been in there. Ian's in there. Brian's in there. And it's just a fun place to ask questions, hang out. We talk about social media stuff and nerd out a little bit. So make sure you guys come and join that. What were you going to say, Grace? Sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, I said our friend Mitch is the community manager over there too. So,
and we're going to have him on the show in not too long. So if you would do us a favor, as you're joining the show, would you sprinkle the love across the interwebs? Let people know about this. Call them in. If they're they're struggling with their YouTube or they want to improve their YouTube channel, this is going to be the show for them. So mention them down below because Shelley is going to be amazing. So Grace, how's it? Is it snowing in Texas yet? Oh, in your part of Texas?
No, it's not. Even though I got a winter advisory this morning, I don't know. I don't even know how to dress anymore. I don't know. Like, is it hot? Is it cold?
Right.
I don't know. I just live in this pretend world that is my studio at home. And Shelley's in the Pacific Northwest. Gorgeous, gorgeous Pacific Northwest. How are things there?
Cold and rainy.
Yeah.
But good. Yes.
So Ian says we need to start saying good morrow, fine people. So that will be our show opener from now on.
Well, that's better than what he said earlier, which is good morrow final people. And I was like, what are the final people?
They're really intense over there in the UK.
They're very intense. Cake or death.
Yes.
So, Volley, a good chilled out place to have a chat. Yeah, I've been enjoying it for the last week. We're trying to get Shelley to join us over there too.
Yes.
So I did a little pre-show prep over there. So maybe we can make it a regular thing. It was fun. It'd be fun to talk to people.
Yeah. So I'm going to hit go on the podcast machine and we'll get this show started. Thank you everybody for showing up. Gary, good to see you. Thank you for always stopping by and helping us out. And so I will start the show right now. Welcome to Social Media News Live. I'm Jeff C. and you're not.
I'm Grace Duffy, and this is the show that keeps you up to date in the world of social media.
Are you having trouble getting your videos to rank on YouTube? Are you doing everything right and still not seeing the results you want? Well, we invited expert video creator and YouTube coach Shelley Nathan to join us on this week's show to troubleshoot your YouTube strategy. We're going to be talking about the big payout also that YouTube is going to be offering podcasters to help them expand their broadcast to video, and also how YouTube Shorts are measuring up to TikTok. So, Shelley, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. It's a little early in the morning. I'm excited, but I wouldn't get up for very many people, but you are one of them.
Well, thank you so much. I think that was, Grace was like, you got to make sure that she can do it because she's got stuff going on. So I'm glad that you did it. So if you don't know who Shelley Nathan is, you really should. You might know her as Shelley Saves the Day. She is a Seattle-based video creator and YouTube coach. She is passionate about helping creators learn how to share what they love with the world through video and make money doing it. She is the co-host of the Video Marketing Value podcast. I watched that last night. Very, very cool. And she's also the creator of iMovie Made Easy, a comprehensive online video editing course, and was the senior video manager and product expert at TubeBuddy. So thank you, Shelley, once again for being here.
That was quite the intro. Wow.
I know.
Oh, can I live up to that? We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. So, by the way, I want to let you guys know that today's show is brought to you by our friends over at Ecamm, and you can find out more about them at socialmedianewslive.com/Ecamm. There's some big news today. So here's what happened. Their new version 3.10 dropped, and there's a couple really cool things that came out with this. Number one, virtual microphone. So now what you can do, if you're doing Zoom and you can use Ecamm, if you're using their virtual camera, you can now use your microphone. So you can bring in special effects and all sorts of cool stuff. Really big update for Ecamm. You can also now have Mac OS shortcuts. So what happens, like if I start Ecamm, I can turn on my lights automatically and I can go to Do Not Disturb. So that is really, really, really cool. And also they have a ton of different things that you can do with these new overlay enhancements. So if you haven't checked out Ecamm for a while, make sure you go to socialmedianewslive.com/Ecamm. Brand new release today. Go, if you haven't, go update, because I'm telling you, there's some cool stuff. So thanks to Ecamm for
yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
I
virtual
still love squovels. Love my squovels.
Squovels. What do you think
That's
of the
what they call
update? Shelley?
them. I like
Have you
them.
gotten to play around with it a little bit? Yeah.
Not
What's
yet.
your
I just
favorite new
updated
feature?
last night, but the virtual mic
last
thing
night.
is actually the coolest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Gary goes, Gary Stockton, our friends watching over on YouTube, he goes, virtual microphone, holy decibels, Batman. Yeah, Gary, go check it out. He's a big Ecamm user, so he's also a musician, so I'm sure that's going to come in handy to him. So yeah, very cool. All right, Grace.
We can start piping in our applause, Jeff, and our little pats on the back, right?
Yeah.
That's what we need to do. Yes, we need to do that. So, Grace, take us away. Are we talking about this strategy for YouTube? So I'll let you kick off this first section.
Yep. So level set, we are going to start this conversation off with knowing that YouTube is mandatory for your marketing. If you've got a product, a service, you're building a personal brand. Hey, it's conference season right now. And for those of you that are looking to speak or present or be part of these conferences these social media conferences that have been launching or are launching starting this coming week, a lot of times, you want to go on there and, when you're looking to see if you vet your speakers, it's a good way to present yourself and also to position yourself as an expert in your industry. And it's also given that video, whether it's on YouTube, whatever platform, is absolutely necessary. We also know that YouTube is connected to Google, of course, the best search engine in the world. No one wants to sit on forums to find out how to do something now. Email is too slow. If you want to show up for your customers and your clients and also build your business, video is it. And also, it's not too late to get started. That's a question we get all the time. It is not too late to start. And guess what? All that video beginner content can also be found on YouTube. But today we invited Shelley on because she is an expert video creator and a YouTube coach. And we wanted to talk to her about how to troubleshoot your YouTube channel if your current strategy is not working for you. I wanted to start this off with saying that you're a potential client, you're a video coach. And so let's say that I'm a potential client and I'm coming to you as a YouTube coach. And I have a great niche. I have a great product. Let's say that I've already developed my brand voice. I know exactly who I want to reach. And I find myself at this point where I'm doing everything right. I've watched all the videos, I've watched all the shows, but it's not quite doing what I want it to do. My YouTube strategy isn't quite meeting my marketing strategy. So let's say that someone is coming to you as a potential client. What is the first question you ask them when they come to you asking to do a video audit?
Ooh, okay. So one of the first things that I would ask of any of the people coming to work with me, there's two big ones, is like, who are you talking to? So hopefully you've ideally put out your ideal client avatar and you know who they are, not only their demographics, but their psychographics, what really makes them tick, what keeps them up at night, where are they shopping, what kind of questions they're asking. And then two, the next one is really, how do you define success? Because some people are erroneously doing it by, did I get enough views, instead of did I book a client? Did I make the phone ring? Is my, appointment book full? There's different levels and measures of success. And a lot of the time when you see someone who's like, I don't think my channel is doing all it should, I'm like, well, maybe it's because you have the wrong success metric started and you're not working backwards from that. So those are the two that I would start with.
So a real quick question. So there's, I'm sure you know this, there's a ton of so-called YouTube experts out there with a lot of expert channels. So let's say I'm a brand and I want some help with my YouTube channel. What do I look for in a so-called expert? Do I go just by they have a big YouTube channel or they've worked with big brands like Coca-Cola? What do I look for when I'm wanting to find an expert to help me with my content?
I think that a lot of where people start is, do they have a big social media following somewhere? Which I think is wrong, because I don't know if you've ever been inside of your Instagram DMs or anything like that, but you can buy a social media following for about
Right.
$20 or $30, right?
Right.
And it doesn't mean that the engagement ratio is correct. It doesn't mean that they've actually done work. And what's interesting about that is there's a lot of fake it and fake gurus out there. I'm just going to put that out there. And how you can start to spot some of the real ones versus others. Who have they worked with? What channels have they helped grow? Do they have any certifications? Are they going to industry leading events? How do they keep up with education? Are they still teaching you things like you really should be doing hours and hours of keyword research to make sure your green tags are ranking on YouTube, when we all know that it isn't the most important thing? Like, how do you really define? Because it's really easy for some people to sell that as a course and be like, look at us, we're going to get all these green ranking tags, when it's really just like, oh, did you do a variation of how you spell it? Did you use a long tailed keyword? It's not really right. It's not really the most and interestingly enough, some of the best YouTube coaches that I've worked with, they don't even have a YouTube channel because they're so busy in the businesses of other people's YouTube channels behind the scenes. So you would never know. And the only way that you hear about them is through word of mouth of people who've actually worked with them. So I think if you can get testimonials from people who've actually worked with them, if you know that you've seen them talking on stages at places like, Vid Summit or places, if you see that they're actually in there and doing the work, then that's a person you want to be working with.
So you mentioned like certifications and stuff like that. Is there like a YouTube Academy that you can go through, and is there any sort of certification, or is it all just kind of, other companies have their own certification or whatnot?
Interestingly enough, there was a YouTube certification program. And so I was YouTube certified in a couple of different categories: channel growth, content strategy. And they have since discontinued the program, or actually changed it in such a way where the way that it worked is you would take a certain amount of online classes, and then you would take a quiz. It was a timed quiz, and you had to get a certain score to receive a certificate in one specific area. And then you could use this little badge that said YouTube certified. And not only that, the certifications technically had an expiration date on them of about a year or two, and then you would have to go in and recertify. So I was going in to recertify for a couple of these certifications. At the time, they had 4. They don't even offer these categories anymore, which is interesting. But they actually changed the rules. So now the only way that you can get into the program is to have a partner channel manager who then enrolls you themselves. And you only are assigned a partner manager once you are above 100,000 and you're part of the content ID system. So it's now much, much harder than it was before. And some companies used to be required to also do it to be listed in a directory, but they have since they've deprecated this kind of program, it's really hard. So also anyone out there who's saying that they're YouTube certified, which it is still a thing, but technically their certifications expire. So if they're not willing to tell you that their certifications are expired, because some people I know will be like, well, I'm certified. And I'm like, yeah, but technically it does have an expiration date. So if they don't want to admit that to you, then maybe they're just not very honest. And maybe that's also another indicator that you don't really want to work with them.
Yeah.
But there was a program. Bad. There was an entire program. Yes.
You need to do the sniff test. The sniff test always works for me. So let's say, okay, we've done our due diligence. We've looked and saw that Shelley has worked with all these great people. She does all this stuff. Her bona fides check out. As a client, what are some questions I need to ask you? Because we've all had, people we've done business with, when we have those type of clients, then we have the really good clients who know the questions to ask and are on, right there with us working through the problem. What do you want your clients to ask you when they first come in?
So some things that I would want to be asked is, how are you going to support me? Right. And do you have any experience in this particular niche? Because there are some certain principles when it comes to YouTube that are universal across everything. And then there's some that are maybe specific to a niche. So if I'm in real estate, there are people that I would maybe trust to look at for real estate YouTube advice, right? I may not go to someone who's doing something when it comes to beauty and lifestyle as much, there are still some general principles that they can apply. But if I really wanted success, I might actually go after someone who's modeling it. So I might say, like, do you have any experience with working in this field? Or how do you think you would work with someone who's in this field? That would be an important question for me as a person who's about to spend money. Because if it's also something it doesn't align personally, like, hey, I want to help you and you're all about veganism and I love barbecue, like that's not a great,
Right.
even if it's a food channel, right? All of a sudden, that's just maybe not going to be the best advice. So I would be like, hey, maybe
Right.
our values should align a little bit. Also, like, what kind of access do I have to you? Is this going to be, something where it's only email support, or what are the hours in which I can contact you, or like what kind of time frame should I expect a response back, or what kind of like measurements should we have in place to make sure that we're meeting these goals? Because it's one thing if it's just consultations and I tell you to do something and you do it or not, it doesn't matter, I have your money. Or is it coaching where you actually help me discover the answer? We make changes, we come back and check on those changes, and we go through the iterations of, was it successful? Did it do what we wanted to do? How do we move forward from here?
Gotcha. Funny story. I think it's important, you mentioned having the right niche of, expert you're going to. I had somebody reach out to me on Pinterest. She was an Instagram influencer, and she wanted me help with her Pinterest, and she was a bikini model. And I'm like, have you seen my profile picture? Because I just don't think that. And I've been married for 26 years, so I'm very smart on that stuff. So I had to pass on that one. So, but yeah, I was like, I don't think that's going to be a good fit.
And you want to have the right fit, right? Because you want these, not raving in a bad way, but raving in a great way. Like, I had such a great time working with Jeff or Grace. They were the bee's knees, the dog's tuxedos, the cat's pajamas, all these things. They tell everyone, right? Because that is the best advertising, is when you're like, oh my gosh, you have to work with this person. You have to be top of mind when someone says, oh, I need help with Pinterest, or, whatever else it is. So absolutely.
Yeah, and the mankini photos they didn't do well on Pinterest anyway.
They didn't.
So
they
it
did
just
not,
didn't do it. Yeah,
They didn't
Sorry.
rank well.
did not go
We
viral
had
like I thought. So anyway,
to take 'em off the
Grace,
internet.
you had a question. Sorry.
Okay, Shelley. So when you are conducting an objective YouTube channel review, and we've already talked about some of the areas you examine and where do you even begin. There was a comment in one of our chats here talking about how people know what they need to do. We've gone to the seminars, we've gone to talks, we know exactly what we need to do. But there is some difficulty in getting started or even knowing where to start. So my question to you is, what tests or experiments do you initially set up within the first 14 days or the first 30 days? And as you start a channel review with a potential client.
Yeah, so it's interesting. The first few the first few days and everything are just a little bit nerve-wracking. And so when I want to work with someone and they're a brand new channel, I usually am going to blow their mind, because I won't let them publish a video for like at least a week or two, when they really need to drill down. Who are you helping? What are their problems? What questions do they have? What are the top 10 questions when it comes to your business? What are people asking when they're thinking about your product? Those videos you have to start first. Then we go a step further and we're like, and you're not going to be able to hard pitch sell them right away in the first video. It has to be relationship based. It has to be making deposits in a piggy bank before you ask for a withdrawal. And it's difficult. And then they're like, but now I have to make a video. And I'm like, oh no. You have to make 3 videos, because we're not going to put out 1 video and then just have it be like, let's dole another out in a week. We're going to do 3 and then do once a week from there. So you're really going to have to like be on your game and ready to launch. It's a real launch strategy. But when it comes to how do I look at a channel and what am I actually going to look at when it comes to someone who's already established, I'm going to come to your channel, your homepage, and I'm going to look at your home page and like, do you have playlists set up? Do you have some sort of ordering system? Does your banner, is it a clear value proposition? Do I know when you're going to upload? Those kinds of pieces of information. Then I'm going to look at your content. How consistently are you publishing? I'm going to look at your about section and be like, did you, actually give me reason to want to contact you? Do you have an email listed there? What are the links that you're using? Do all the links work? Spring cleaning is a big thing where I will go to someone's channel. I'll click on a link for someone's Instagram. This was for a channel review. I offer channel reviews and also consultations. And I clicked on 5 of their links and 4 of them didn't work. They went and they're like, oh, I changed my Instagram username. And I'm like, well, then why do you have a broken link here? That doesn't help anybody.
Right.
And I'm like, if anything, that gives a bad impression because people will click on it and be like, it goes nowhere. It's a 404 error. So it's like, why would you want to work with a business or a brand who doesn't even have a literal presence with a link? Can't even do that correctly. It's very easy. So little things like that. And then I'm going to go to one of their videos and look at their description box and be like, how did you optimize it? How did you put your description? Do you have your canned information about how to reach you? Like, how easy are you making it for me to work with you? So that's some of the stuff I'm looking at.
So real quick, Martin over on LinkedIn asked, so how do I secure a paid YouTube channel audit? And we're going to do this at the end of the show too, but I wanted to go ahead and let you, give that information out because we got some people asking. So how do people get in touch with you, Shelley, to get an audit if they would want to pay for your services?
Oh yeah, you can. If you go to my Instagram, there's a book now button. And it will take you to my calendar, and you can book a session with me.
Right, and if for you guys listening on the podcast, she has a page set up with all her links. If you go to Shelley.fyi, that gives a landing page, and then her Instagram is right there too, and so you can get all her links right from Shelley.fyi. So I want to make sure to get that out right now. So,
and that's cool. Shelley SHELLY.FYI. Yeah. So those of you listening on the podcast, I wanted to make sure, because there's a lot of ways you could spell that.
That's
I want to make
sure.
Yeah,
a lot of people always try and add an extra E, like EY, and it's not EY.
Yeah.
No,
very cool.
Just the Y. So, okay. You and I have both worked on the brand side, and we know that we're always testing, experimenting, coming up with different ideas. And sometimes, you do something and it doesn't work and it's time to pivot. So my question is, how long does it typically take for a channel to start making positive strides following a complete channel audit? And I've seen some stats where people have shared that it'll take 4 months of consistently doing something before you can see an uptick, right? I've definitely worked with people that are like, well, we did the one video. Why haven't we gotten any more sales, right? Or, oh my gosh, do we keep doing this? When do we pivot? So what is a good sense of timing as far as when we can expect to start seeing positive results, say, assuming we're doing everything you've told us to do?
90 days.
90 days.
I would wait 90 days.
Okay, cool.
Yep. That's a good, solid answer. I love that.
Yep. So we've got some great questions about, and Gary brought up a great question because I've had the same issue. He goes, one of the hardest things he has faced is the ability to add our domain to YouTube. They don't make it easy for large corporations with multiple business units. So can you speak on that? And in fact, it's hard to even get a custom URL on YouTube. I've gone, and I have everything, I own the name for Social Media News Live and all this stuff, and they still won't let me change it. They want me to add something onto the end. So can you talk to that YouTube frustration a little bit, Shelley?
There's a lot of frustration when it comes to YouTube, but I think you might be referring to your custom URL. Is that correct? Yeah, you would have to contact them.
Okay.
If you noticed, you should have now the ability to do a community chat.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're inside of YouTube Studio, I would actually start with chat for your particular issue.
Awesome.
And as long as you have the URL available, they can help you change it.
Okay.
Just FYI.
Cool.
So I would open a chat for there. When it comes to linking other URLs, I have found similar to where the verification process, not the one with the check mark where you actually have the verified check mark, but the one where you go in and you verify your phone number and stuff. It's actually simpler than a lot of people think, actually, because I thought it was going to be really difficult to change mine a couple times. And once I put it in with the URL, sometimes they'll ask you to put a little something in the top of your like if it's a WordPress site or something like that, sometimes they'll ask something like that to link it. And sometimes they've just accepted it on different channels that I've had. So I haven't had too much difficulty with that. But the other thing that you can do is you can always add a link at the top of your about section. And then you can display up to 5 links in your banner if you want to. And you could put something in your channel banner with an arrow that says click here for whatever. And then you could go to your website and link it from there, and then make sure it's in your description box of all your videos too.
Awesome. So hopefully, Gary, that answered your question, but that was a great one. Thank you for asking that. Paul G over on LinkedIn says he cannot agree more. Broken links are red flags. It's all about the little details. There are so many companies who do not have that stuff. I did an audit for somebody the other day, and they had all sorts of broken links on their homepage. And I'm like, come on, folks. Yeah. So,
well, not only that, but even mistakes such as in their about section, they will literally spell out their website details when I'm like, someone has to copy and paste from here. You're making it so difficult for anyone to work with you, and you're wasting valuable character limit space here. Like, put it as a link so that someone can actually click on it, and then put an about section that is actually relevant to you, why someone would want to work with you, want to get to know you. Anything like that is better real estate time investment ROI than what you have here.
Gotcha. So real quick, since we talked about this, the customer chat option, he said Ian says he cannot find it in his YouTube studio. Now he's in the UK and they do weird things over there. But do you know can you kind of direct him in the right spot to find it? He can't find it in the YouTube studio.
Typically, if you have more than 500 subscribers and you had access to the community tab, now you should also have in the creator studio. There should be. I can pop in and also follow up with you offline because I am going to be on his podcast in the next couple of weeks, so I'll have an answer for you before that too with a screenshot.
Cool. So, real quick before we move on to the next section, I wanted to ask you because, like I said, I had stalked your channel and been watching you for a while. But you had mentioned recently that you are changing the direction of your YouTube channel. In fact, you had, I think it was a post that says, "I'm blowing up my YouTube channel." So, talk to us why and how you're doing that.
Okay, so for Ian as well. So if you are in your dashboard home page. So there's your profile picture in the upper right-hand corner. If you go over to the left, one click, you're going to see the create button. You go over another click, there's a question mark. Go over another click, it says chat with creator support. And then if you had TubeBuddy installed, it would be to the right of that icon. So that's where I'm looking, and it says chat with creator support. So hopefully that's where you would see that.
Cool.
And it's so interesting when I said I'm blowing up my YouTube channel. I had someone come to that stream and they said something like, "Oh, I'm so excited that you're blowing up. I want to know how to do that too." And I was like, "Oh, wow, thank you for the positive connotation thought." But it's actually the opposite. I was like, maybe that was the wrong type of title, or the right one. I'm not sure. But I have privated probably about 285 videos on my YouTube channel in the last month or so. And that is because I don't want to continue to receive traffic on items that I no longer want or need to be known for. So I was doing how to make videos through video editing tutorials and how to do YouTube. And so I even went to a point where I created a course on how to edit videos as well. But I found now that like 90% of my views were coming from things that I didn't want to continue making videos about, which was like how to make a subscribe button and how to do animated overlays and how to do something in iMovie, because I feel like I've done that. I've offered it. I've created a whole course on it. And now I want to help people do the next step, which is now that I know how to make a video, how do I use it to propel forward what I want to do and share what I love with the world and still be able to make money. So that's what the new focus is, which is funny because I've always had a special gift of being able to help anyone make money except for myself. Like if you ask me, I will and have a conversation with you. I'll think of 5 different ways that you could probably monetize something and go make money. But when it comes to me, I'm like, I don't know. And it's funny, like when I was in college, I was helping people write their renegotiations and with job offers, and different things like that would happen. And I can help people make brand deals with brands and like, oh, you should say this, or oh, you should ask for this, or oh, do this. But when it comes to myself, and I'm just like, okay, so those who can't teach. So now I'm like, I should just embrace it. Let's just teach it. So I had to make a very hard pivot and decide like, I can't keep driving traffic from 90% of these video views on something that's not what the true focus of this is. And so instead of making a new channel and starting again, I was just like, we're just going to cut off the water at the source. And so that's what we did. And so we're focusing now on, all right, I'm going to assume you know how to make the video. Now let's take it the next step and actually do something and make money.
Cool. Well, Dustin,
I think you pinpointed exactly why I always work for companies, because that right there of like, I have a million ideas for everyone else. But when you're like, what are you all about? I don't know. I don't know.
So Dustin, my friend Dustin Stout says it's always harder to turn in our marketing skills to our own business. And that's very true. So I wanted to know, Shelley, how hard was that decision and how long did it take you to make it? Because I mean, that's a lot of content that you're taking down, and that's
a lot.
And you worked really hard on that. So how long did that decision process take? And, before you actually pulled the trigger, because I know that was super hard.
Years, man, years, and it's difficult when you're still getting views. And before I was even like, oh, but I'm helping people. And I'm like, yes, but that's not like, I always say, like, you can't ride 4 horses, like, with 1 butt, right?
Right, right.
Sometimes you gotta pick a horse, and sometimes it's gotta be you can't ride a horse with just
Right.
1 cheek. So, you're gonna have to pick a lane, and so this is the lane that I picked because I thought, "You know what? There are people out there that can help you make videos, and there are people out there who can, show you how to talk a little bit about TikTok or vertical video or whatever else it is," because I love all those things. And I've always been a little bit of an ADD squirrel brain where I just want to be like, I don't know, let's try it. Here's the new thing. And like, let me give it a shot and tell you and report back. And I'm
Hmm.
just here in the trenches. But after a while, I was like, okay, you can go out there and, do all of these things, or you can go really instead of the breadth thing, you can do the depth thing and figure out if that is going to make your life any better because what you're doing right now doesn't work. So.
Gotcha. By the
How
way,
has your audience reacted to that? Because that's a big question. Because I mean, you're still doing video, you're still in that field. But when you are creating a lot of that content that people are relying on you for, and then you kind of pivot and go do something different, or you drill down somewhere else, there is that fear I know of like, well, I don't want to let go
Yep.
of those people. But so,
Yep.
how did your audience react with when you decide to quote unquote blow things up?
um, I think a lot of people they don't like it and a lot of people don't notice. So the more and more videos that I put out on content that they're not interested, the more that will unsubscribe, and that's fine. Because I would rather have a lot of people rocking with me that really want to be there. And so I've also been in a season of my life before. This is nothing new because I'm going to make a video, in fact, how I failed my way to success in some certain ways because I have done everything wrong you can think of when it comes to a YouTube channel. And I have so many lessons to like teach and talk about, including how going viral is not like the blessing that you think it is, because there was a period of 18 months where every time I put out a video I lost 100 subscribers because for 18 months straight all I did was lose subscribers. And so this is nothing new at all. And I'm fine. I'm fine with it because I've made the decision that it's not the subscriber number that is paying me. It's the people who are working with me that actually pay me.
So, by the way, I want to pull this up because this is coming from your channel. Blaine Locklear says, $5 super chat. Shelley's doing something right. This video is the first one on my homepage when I shined on. So here's something you made yourself some money. So thanks, Blaine, for doing that. That's really, really cool. Doing that during the show.
Awesome.
More than I've made on this show.
Just
So
yeah,
congratulations.
just right, yes.
I can help anyone
That's
else
right.
make money. So you're welcome.
So I think you resonated with a lot of people because Carrie Ray says she's a cobbler with no shoes as well. So I think a lot of people feels the same way. The funny thing is when you said you can't ride 4 horses with 1 butt, it sounds like a Texas saying. But the thing is, you actually can't. So like during the COVID lockdown, I bought a bread machine, so I definitely can ride a horse with 4 horses with my butt right now because of the amount of bread I consumed. So on that note,
before I was trying to keep it clean for you on
yes,
your show because I don't know if you want me to swear.
yeah.
If you were on my show, I would say something about like you can't do anything quarter acidly. You got to do it with your whole ass. But
right.
I was trying to.
I thank you for that.
Half-ass nothing. Half-ass
right.
nothing.
That's right. Now we have to bleep
Your
everything.
whole ass in there.
All this editing now. No, I'm just teasing. So that's good. You're fine. So real quick, Grace, you had a question about live streaming. I wanted because you are, you work for live streaming. So
I always have a question about live streaming.
Yes. So go ahead and ask it.
So Shelley, you do a lot of live streaming on your YouTube channel, but also on Amazon and a number of other places.
Yeah.
So how do you feel? How do you see that live streaming on YouTube is different than any other on the other platforms that you go live on? I know we talk a lot about multi-streaming and going to one place, but you do kind of have to nurture each community a little bit differently. But let's talk about YouTube today.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a good question. Thank you for asking. So it's interesting because I do have a lot of experience because I live stream on Amazon, like you said. I live stream on Twitch. I live stream on YouTube, and then sometimes I'll use Restream as a tool in conjunction with Ecamm and restream out to Facebook and LinkedIn, and just like I'm doing right now with Pairs, which is a great feature in Restream, by the way. And I it is such a different audience. So if I know if I'm on LinkedIn, typically I would not use the bad body language words that I've already used, so I'm sorry about that. But because it's a different audience, right?
Mhm.
And I keep those usually a little bit more succinct and on point. If it's something for YouTube, I don't mind hanging out, just answering questions that are coming up. I feel like, especially, I've been live streaming every Thursday for a year and a half now, and it's every Thursday, and I have a certain core group of people that really rock with me, and they tune in every week. And that's the thing, is with YouTube, those relationships can go really deep, and it's not always, it can be a great way to build up watch time, but it really is the place where you're going to nurture the audience that's been with you. Those are your true, 1,000 core fans that you're talking to there. It's not like the regular video on demand where you're going after, maybe search or browser suggested. This is like, it's not that. It's just nurturing the audience that you have. So I love live streaming so much. In fact, I was like, at one point in my YouTube thoughts, I was like, I should only live stream and then just pull out snippets and have them be like the Joe Rogan show, where it's just like
Right.
this answer question thing, and have that be, because I love the interaction and the real time conversation that I get to have with people.
Totally agree. That's awesome. So here, quick question from Ian, if I can speak. He goes, can going live on YouTube harm the channel? People who watch the short and pre-recorded videos aren't necessarily going to watch the live streams. Is there a good percentage of live versus pre-recorded? Great question, Ian.
Yes, absolutely. So like I was just talking about, so video on demand, they're usually short, they're condensed, they're value packed, hopefully, and they are as long as they need to be and not longer than that, right? And a live stream is really about like shooting the breeze. And if you're doing it well, maybe what you're doing is a presentation in the first half an hour, maybe not a ton of interaction or acknowledgement with your audience, so that you could, if you want to, chop off the entire last half where it's just FAQs and questioning with the audience, and it can still be a very valuable like almost video on demand. And someone who does that really well, I am in awe. The way he does it is Sean Cannell over on Think Media.
Yeah.
He'll usually have the presentation first half hour, and then they'll come back in if they do a FAQ, or they could, even if they're broadcasting, they will cut off the video, let's say on YouTube, and then just answer the rest of the questions on Facebook or something like that. Or then he can go in and chop off some 5-minute question where he answers something specifically and put that out as video on demand. So if your channel has a mix and has always had a mix or something like that, it can be okay. And you are not always going to see everyone that you see on the video on demand that you're going to see in the live stream, because video on demand is usually coming up in search or suggested, where it's, I'm looking for an answer for a specific type of thing and I want to know just this thing. And with the live stream, people really have to either catch it by happenstance or schedule it, or they really have to be interested in the person more so, maybe the topic, but a lot of the time the person, because you have to be able to stay on their personality for an extended period amount of time without the cuts. So it really is a different audience. Sometimes they overlap. A lot of the times they don't.
Gotcha.
Very and it can
Brian
hurt your
over
channel.
Yeah. Brian in the UK was saying the idea of watching an hour video turns me off, but I'll turn up here every week. And we appreciate it. Notice that, Brian, because it's live. And we do try to make this more interactive and rely on our audiences, get our audience questions answered. There's one I wanted to bring up.
I was going to say, that's why people love live video. They like to be acknowledged. They like to be spoken to. They like to have questions answered in real time. And you'll find that a lot of the time, typically as well, even if you don't get as many viewers, the average view duration is usually 5 times longer in a live stream if they're actually interested in person or topic than it is in a video on demand.
So we streamed to Social Media News Live's YouTube channel, and like a lot of people here are watching right now live from YouTube. And I've experimented, and I continue experiments with short form content, and it doesn't do very well. I mean, once in a while it will, but so I totally agree with your, sometimes they're coming for one thing and not the other. So, but I'm not going to stop because people really like it over on YouTube. So,
yeah. So we have a question from Michelle. She says, does YouTube penalize you if you put a video on as a short, but then also edit a full piece to a different song, I guess, a different piece of content? Does YouTube notice that some of the content is the same and penalize you, or is more better? I have an opinion, but you're going to actually give me the expert answer. So you tell us your expert answer and I'll give you the opinion I have.
When it comes to shorts, I would say no.
Yeah.
They're not going to penalize you. If you put out the same thing with different background music or something slightly different, they're not. No, your audience might,
Mm.
but the thing
No,
is,
yeah.
oh, go ahead.
I think short videos, like shorts, it gets me interested in it, right? So I do a lot of like I spend a lot of time watching TikToks, and that's like of people just doing those short clips of whatever it is that they're talking about. And it has actually drawn me into listening to their podcast or watching their live show because it does give me like, oh, this is actually interesting. And or that 30 seconds earns the next 30 seconds, the next 30 seconds. So
Yeah.
I don't think it hurts because me as a user, I know how I react to it, and it just gives me the info that I want, but also entices me to watch more of you.
Now you do want to be careful. If you were to talk to YouTube, they would be like, just go live, or just go in the moment and put it out there. And I've been in several, because I'm actually part of the Shorts community where they will actually do like these once a month kind of meetups, and you get to talk to representatives at YouTube's and other creatives and people who are very successful. And some of them are putting out 5 to 7 shorts a day. It's amazing. And a lot of them are just repurposing their TikToks and whatnot. But like there is kind of this consensus of like, there's no like too much when it comes to shorts, especially if you are like a shorts channel. But keeping that in mind, if you are going to upload a lot of shorts, do keep in mind that YouTube has a notification limit where they won't put out more than 3 notifications in a 24-hour period. So if you plan to put out more than that and you have a long video on demand that you're going to put out as well, you would want to go into the back end of YouTube on the computer and check mark the option for do not notify my subscribers of this if you want to save that notification for a longer form video. And that's only available on the desktop version, not on the phone. So you would want to upload it to private or unlisted, then go publish it from the desktop version, hitting the button saying don't notify people.
Very cool.
Good advice.
Cool. So Grace, I'm going to call an audible because we're starting to get into short form content, and I want to make sure we go to this section about. First, I'm going to ask Shelley, what's a good tool? I mean, we've talked about TubeBuddy. Are there any other ones besides TubeBuddy that you would recommend for people trying to do this themselves?
I think TubeBuddy is a great tool, and one of my favorite parts that they have in it is if you're on the version that is going to give you access to all of the bulk tools. So if you have 500 videos and you need to change out an affiliate link, which has happened to me before, you have some brand new promotion or something, you just changed your website. Let's just say you updated your social media handle and you want to make sure that it's updated everywhere in all of your videos. You can use a bulk update tool that is going to do that basically for you in minutes. And that's, I think, the true like bread and butter, like one of the best workhorses pieces that they have, as well as the ability to test your thumbnails. Because it's the best version of A/B thumbnail testing that is currently available out there because no one else really has this ability. And what they do is they cycle out your thumbnail for 24 hours, then they collect a bunch of metrics. This is what you want, the information from your audience. What are they clicking on? What do they like? Do they like it when you have your face in the thumbnail? Do they not like it? Words on a thumbnail or not? If you're making certain expressions, it's amazing the kind of data that they can pull, including things like if they clicked into your thumbnail, how much like video enjoyment, like how much of it did they watch? So those type of things aren't available to you unless you're like some numbers guru aficionado doing it all yourself, and like they can do it for you. So I would do that in the bulk updating tools. Like they're primo.
Awesome. Very, very cool. Yeah. I know Mitch Dong used that a lot for Social Media Examiner's channel and grew it by doing all these split tests. And he really took that to the next level over there. So very, very cool tool. So I want to pull this up from Gary. And so this is the power of live video, folks. He goes, Shelley, I just used your affiliate link to buy that mobile vlogging setup. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah. So there you go. See, there we go. That's what's so cool about our community. They'll spend money. So thanks, Gary, for that. I want to go really, and we'll save the news about the podcasting to the end if we have time, because I really wanted to get in this because we had some questions about it. But it's TikTok versus YouTube. We've talked about shorts. We've done all this stuff. Shelley has, she's been doing a lot of shorts, and she mentioned she was in there, the kind of the creator community. And it's really strange to me because it seems like TikTok's getting longer. They're letting up to 10 minutes now. Yeah. YouTube has had the shorts. And I'm like, okay, are we going to ever find out which the best length of video is? Because it just seems to be going all over. And, there's so many questions. I mean, we had people asking inside of Volley, like, should we do a separate shorts channel? Because that's a huge conversations that's happened over on YouTube too. So talk to us about shorts and what you found successful over there, Shelley.
Shorts are fascinating. I think they rolled them out clunkily and like quarter-buttedly, and they didn't have probably a very good plan. I think it was reactionary in terms of everything that was happening down with in India and some of all of the restrictions that were coming into place, and they really needed to release something like then. And so there was all this weird stuff. It was in beta for so long, and then it was like, how do we monetize this, and what does it do to your average view duration and your own like channel metrics, and should I start a new channel? And it's been so messy. And so to this end, I'm going to say something, maybe it's a hot take, but I would say, unless like your content is so drastically different, or topic or subject matter or something like that is so different, I would not start a separate shorts channel. I just wouldn't do that. I think that they will pull out the metrics separately enough, especially if you think about how they're introducing like clips and different things like that. They're encouraging these small little snippets of you. And I think that shorts and stories and stuff like that, it's a great way for people to get an introductory or sample before then being inundated with the rest of it. So just like Grace said, like I watched a few shorts, I binged a few shorts, and I wanted to watch the whole thing. But if you watched a few shorts, binged a few shorts, then had to go subscribe to a different YouTube channel to get different notifications of long form content, all of a sudden you're muddying these waters. Like, am I going to do that? No. And anything that puts more barriers between you and the person who's hitting the button, you don't want. So for me personally, I would probably just keep them on the same channel, unless I'm a cooking channel and now all of a sudden I want to make shorts about how to cobble shoes, right? All of a sudden, that's not the same customer. That's not the same interest. That's not the same person. So then that makes sense. Let's have it on a separate channel, because I'm so multifaceted and multi-passionate. Then do it that way. But otherwise, I'd keep them on the same.
It was interesting because one of your shorts, you sounded like one of my East Texas neighbors. I'm like, is Shelley have a Southern accent? And I'm like, I had to go look. And no, okay, yeah. So yeah, that was.
What I say?
No, you were like, all right, y'all. You were doing something. I'm like, that was a short.
Y'all is always intentional, because I had gone through some training about inclusion and whatnot, and so it was an intentional choice for me to try and say y'all more than guys. Hey guys, or something like that on my channel. So I do get that a lot. Like, are you from Texas? Are you from South? No. And I'm like, no, it's just because I say y'all a lot, because I want to try and be inclusive of everyone. Because otherwise, if you catch me on my show, I'll say them like, hey guys and gals. So it's always this reflex. So now
this was you sound like Gomer Pyle. You actually did like you were doing an accent. So it wasn't just that. So I have to go find that one.
Did you just take it through your East Texas filter, Jeff? And she sounded normal, but they had to like a little UN translator.
No, I'm serious. She was doing an accent. I'll go find it, because it wasn't just her saying y'all. So anyway.
All right.
We get
I
off.
believe you.
Anyway,
sometimes, you get a little excited, and who knows, the Southern.
Okay.
The Southern comes out.
That's right.
Yes. Exactly. So let's talk about YouTube Shorts as well. Okay. So one thing that I think so fascinating as well, the way that the Shorts explosion can happen on a channel in terms of channel growth and audience size. So I have a friend, Lisa Wynn, who was reposting all of her TikToks about food, where she used to go out to restaurants and she couldn't because of everything happening with the panini. I don't want to say the word and get you. And because of that, all of a sudden these views started blowing up about food, and she started making all these food videos. And so she got to 2 million on her YouTube channel with shorts, no long form, just shorts. And so it can happen, but a lot of the monetization that would start happening wasn't from shorts itself. It was from all of a sudden later brand deals, and from the Shorts Fund, which was later released. And the Shorts Fund itself is especially interesting, because if you think about it, they committed like $100 million, and it's very nebulous about who gets it, who qualifies, and you don't even have to be in the regular partner program to get a payout from the Shorts Fund, which is just fascinating to me, because they have all of these new things and countries opening up that don't even participate in monetization except for the Shorts Fund. And their whole shorts can't be monetized in many, many different situations. So if the shorts, which will not contribute to your 4,000 hours of watch time, if they're coming from the shorts shelf, which is different, which is where you want your video to be, because that's where the majority of the views come from instead of your homepage. But if the shorts views do come from your homepage, those could be monetized unless you use the shorts music library selection. And then no matter where the views are coming from, those can never be monetized. So they have all of these weird rules. So you could also take a video that was 15 seconds from Instagram and then try and put it over here, and you could get hit with a copyright claim. Even though it's the same song that's available, if you didn't add the song from the shorts library inside of YouTube, you could get dinged. And also, they've said that if your video, I know, right?
Yeah.
It's fascinating. And then also, if your video has a visible watermark from something like TikTok or Instagram, it would not be eligible to participate in the shorts fund as well. So you could get hit with a claim. You wouldn't get a payout anyway, but so many people do it. And so it's like, if you don't even read the rules, it's just fascinating to me. And like, what are you doing in your collecting views? The subscribers will count for your 1,000, but none of those views will end up counting towards your monetization requirements. So it's just the Wild West out here when it comes to shorts. I just threw a lot at you. Do you have questions about that?
So Grace, I know you had one.
We've got a theme. We've got like the half butts and the y'all. So
Right.
I wanted to know how much are you repurposing your YouTube Shorts video, the content, the actual video that you're making onto other platforms? Like you mentioned Instagram, we've talked about TikTok. How often are you doing that?
A lot of the time. So
Okay.
what's interesting is I will sometimes intentionally shoot vertically, or I will shoot horizontally and shoot cut down the middle, just so that I can put it onto all the other different places now, whether that's Pinterest, video pins, TikTok, Reels. Like I will put that same video everywhere, and you just don't know what's going to happen. So like I have one that is about a coffee pump, these Tarani syrup coffee pumps, right? I put that over on TikTok and it got 320,000 views. It got a repost from the brand and they sent me some syrups as a thank you. I put that same video on YouTube. I think it has like 2,000 views. I put it on Pinterest. It has like 50 views. Like you just never know what is going to happen. So one of the reasons why I love vertical video so much is once you have it and you have something under 60 seconds, put that thing everywhere and just see what happens.
Totally true. Like I'm on the Facebook Reels program. We had Molly on last week. I had the goofy pictures of my dog, got up to 15,000 views, and I made $150. So,
right?
Yeah, it's
right?
crazy. Yeah.
It is nuts.
So really quickly before we get, man, this show is flying, but we got to do a part 2 with Shelley. We just have to with all these questions.
I would love to. Yes.
Yes.
I'd love to.
So this is something I want to talk about really quickly because it's kind of breaking news that just happened not very long ago. But this thing from Bloomberg is YouTube is offering to pay individual podcasters and podcasting networks if they upload video versions of their shows. The grants could be from $50,000 for independent creators to $300,000 for larger networks. So I know you do a lot of podcasting. You do a lot of recording, doing a live show on YouTube, and it takes over to podcasting. What are your thoughts about this? And, will this be available to little people like us?
Honestly, I don't think this is that exciting. And
Okay.
I know like a lot of people would think it is, but here's the thing is Shorts is $100 million fund that was being paid out over, let's say like a year and a half. And I wasn't sure if it was $300,000 total or it could be up to $300,000 per instance, but no total listed. So I had a question about that. I wasn't quite sure because I was like, for me, I just put it on YouTube as one more place. So I have one more place where my name is showing up. But I also have found that sometimes if you were to do a poll, the majority of your listeners of any podcast usually aren't doing it on YouTube. And it's, Apple Podcasts and Spotify even, and Spotify is experimenting, especially like
Right.
I host my on Anchor, and they're integrating with Anchor for video podcasts. So I can put it there for free too. So I'm already multicasting and putting it on there. If YouTube wants to pay me additional money to do it, it's not going to entice me more. For some of the people who are podcast only, audio only, it might entice them. But I think there's not that many people who are super excited because podcast as a medium by itself is so interesting because you do it while you're doing other things. You do it while you're doing housework or you're, running around, riding a car, commuting, stuff like that.
Riding
And a
4
lot of the
horses.
time, exactly, with only one booty. And if you have to do that, like, and same time, like it, I don't see it being that's just my hot take on it. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal.
Awesome.
So with
It
that
might
in
encourage
mind,
a few extras, but not a lot.
Gotcha.
well, with that in mind, do you think it makes sense for podcasters to release clips, like little video clips of that, that question answer, whatever, rather than
Yes.
putting full episodes on YouTube? So that's a good strategy, right?
Well, I think you could still do both. I think the short things are the ones that get people interested. It's the question about it's always about the question that's being answered because so many people who are watching on YouTube are search based driven and it's selfish. I want to know the thing. I want to know the answer to this question and this query, and I want to have it answered now. And I don't want to wade through 60 minutes of fluff to get to the 5 minute question that is um, this thing. And so
Yeah.
I think that if you can get people interested in it, great, and they want to watch the rest of it, great. But if you can't, you can still be a trusted resource to answer the question that they did have and then we're searching for at that time.
Very cool.
And
All right.
Michelle, oh, can we ask Michelle?
Yeah, I want to have one last question. That was the Michelle about the YouTube Shorts because we talked about that and it's very fascinating. And I know a lot of people want to know this. She goes, okay, pretty much just answered this other question, but about the Shorts Fund, which you have to be invited to. Is there no other way to monetize Shorts?
You can still monetize it, but the views will only count for monetization if they're coming from your homepage, watch page, or something like that, versus if it's found in the Shorts shelf where people are scrolling. And that's also interesting because when they look at the metrics and stuff, CTR, which is click-through rate, which is how often like people see your thumbnail and how often they click on it, that actually can't be measured when it comes to the short shelf because there is no scrolling capability to view a thumbnail. So there's so many things that don't apply if it's inside of the short shelf. So CTR won't apply. And so monetization also doesn't apply. But also if you use music from the Shorts music library, it doesn't matter where they view it. You will never get monetized for that. But if you were doing a talking head 30-second video and you had it from your homepage and someone watched it there, you could monetize that. But also keep in mind that with the CPM and RPM on that, because there's so little watch time, you would need to get so many views from it. It's never going to pay out a lot. It's going to be like 5 cents or something. It's just not going to be a lot.
Gotcha. All right. So if you're so confused about all, like we were talking about CTRs and, watch times and all this stuff, you know what you need to do? You just need to help. You just need to hire Shelley because she's amazing. So Shelley, where can people find out more about you? Because you have been an awesome source of information today.
You can come to my YouTube channel, Shelley Saves the Day. You can hang out with me on Instagram, send me a DM, or book time with me there. Yeah.
Yep. And she's also found at Shelley.fyi, SHELLY.fyi. You can find her there and get all her socials. Go follow her everywhere. Go subscribe to her podcast and leave her a rating and review because that really, really helps other podcasters get the word out. So if you do that, I would appreciate that. And as always, you guys are amazing. Such great questions today. You guys are so awesome here in our community. Thanks, Gary and Michelle and everybody who's been watching today. We really appreciate you. Grace, where can people find out about the amazing Grace Duffy?
Well, you can find me here every week doing this live show with Jeff, and we'll be back next week, Friday, March 18th at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. I've also been checking out that tool, Volley, so that's where you can find me. I did a quick little video of what it takes for me to get ready for the show. Obviously, not enough time, so
right.
So join us there.
And also, thank you to our host, our sponsors, Social Ecamm. You can find out more about them at socialmedianewslive.com/Ecamm. They have a brand new release that dropped today, 3.10, and it's amazing. We have virtual mic. We've got all sorts of new overlays, new destinations, so many cool things. So make sure you guys go check them out. Once again, you can find out more about them at socialmedianewslive.com/Ecamm. Thank you, folks, so much for being here. Thank you, Shelley. I'm serious. This is just, it blew my mind. So much good stuff today. Thank you to everyone, and we will see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Ecamm Live. So you're able to use your mirrorless camera as a virtual webcam, and you can tweak the colors right in Ecamm Live using their camera effects, and then bring this video right into Zoom, Google Meet, and pretty much any other virtual meeting app. You can even stream directly to Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn and bring in comments right onto the video.